In the early 90s, a college student decided to make a Pong clone for the Mac. He released it under the banner Bungie Software, a one-man company which quickly grew and produced cutting-edge games for the Mac platform. After releasing the hits Marathon and Myth, Bungie began work on a game that was so impressive that Steve Jobs selected it as a prominent example of the Mac's graphical capabilities. But all that changed when in 2000, Microsoft announced it was entering the console market with a system called the Xbox. Recognizing that the Bungie project had a lot of potential behind it, Microsoft reached out to Bungie, offering to acquire the studio, its employees, and the intellectual property rights to the game in exchange for a huge budget and the chance to work on the Xbox before other studios. The game was called Halo. The Xbox offered a stable, powerful platform that no one else in the industry had yet gotten to play with. Combined with the financial backing of one of the wealthiest corporations in the world, Bungie couldn't say no. They uprooted from Chicago and came to Redmond, Washington. The traditional professional culture of Microsoft was at odds with the laid-back, irreverent attitude of Bungie, and so they successfully requested to be given their own building to retain their identity. After knocking out all the walls of their building to give it a more open feeling, Bungie was safely planted in their new soil. Outside opinions of the acquisition were initially negative, with many feeling they'd been robbed of the Mac version of Halo. Besides, other than Rare's GoldenEye for the Nintendo 64, there had never been a successful shooter on a console before. This bad press started to turn around as increasingly polished builds of the game were shown to the press. Fantastic graphics, distinctive art design, and intuitive control schemes quickly had game journalists raving about the game.
Recon reporting. Hostiles have been neutralized.
Say again? Over.
The drop zone is clear. I repeat, the drop zone is clear.
Understood. Lieutenant, let's get this thing moving.
In short order, Halo became the most anticipated launch title of Microsoft's first foray in gaming hardware. Not everything went swimmingly, however. Since Halo had to be a launch title, it had to be finished by the date Microsoft had set for the Xbox's release. On top of the time crunch, the fiercely independent studio found itself answerable to Microsoft executives who thought in less relaxed terms than the typical Bungie employee. Worse, Bungie's die-hard support for multiplayer gaming suffered a blow when Microsoft stated that they would not be able to finish Xbox Live by the time of the console's release. As such, multiplayer on Halo would be limited to LAN networks. But perhaps most painfully, on July 19th, Alex Seropian, the man who had founded Bungie in college merely as a way to distribute his own games, announced he was leaving it behind. The Master Chief had taken his first victim. Despite the hardships, the dedication of the Bungie staff, not to mention Microsoft's money, eventually resulted in the slightly clumsily titled Halo: Combat Evolved. On November 15, 2001, both Halo and the Xbox were unleashed on the world. Halo was a mammoth success, so much so that it became a flagship title for the Xbox and helped drive sales of the console. The game became famous for its top-of-the-line graphics and balanced gameplay. It made famous the idea of limiting the player's weapons choices. Instead of being able to carry every weapon in the game, the player now had to choose between any two guns. This in turn led to the idea that there shouldn't be weak weapons and better weapons, but rather that all guns should have their own pros and cons. As such, weapon selection, combination, and use became a part of the gameplay in ways no other shooter had achieved.
They crashed with more damage than I suspected. Coolant leakage rate is significant. The ship's reactor should already have gone critical.
The story itself, about a space marine discovering a giant ring world and fighting an alien race for control of it, quickly drew in gamers for its epic scope and science fiction sensibilities. The lead character, the Master Chief, was never seen by players. Only his unique armor was visible, which became synonymous with the franchise and allowed the players to self-identify with the otherwise faceless hero. Combined with the intuitive control scheme and the birth of network console gaming, and you had the recipe for a monster hit. Perhaps as a consolation gift for its early fans, Halo was eventually released on both Mac and PC in September 2003, nearly 4 years after its announcement at Macworld 99, and 2 years after its arrival on Xbox. The popularity of Halo led to several spin-off projects, both commissioned and unexpected. Several novels based in the Halo universe were released, both expanding on the game's story and filling in the background of the game. While these were official projects, somewhere in Texas, a group of slackers were cooking up their own kind of story, the Machinima series Red vs. Blue, The Blood Gulch Chronicles. Initially meant to be a 6-episode joke, the show became so successful that it's still going strong today.
Hey, yeah? You ever wonder why we're here?
It is considered the first breakout hit of the medium, and helped to raise awareness of Halo to so many non-gamers that Microsoft offered them the right to make money off their work. All this attention led to some incredible numbers, with 1 million units sold in under 5 months, going on to nearly 6.5 million units sold today. With its main character and score quickly reaching iconic status in the gaming community, the question of a sequel became not one of if, but when. Tune in next time to watch how Bungie made lightning strike twice.